Good evening, everybody. It is Steve Lookner with Agenda Free TV coming to you with breaking news. New York City Mayor Eric Adams has been indicted. He is now facing federal criminal charges, and he is the first sitting New York City mayor to ever be indicted. So we are here to bring you live coverage of this. Sorry, I'm kind of just jumping on the air here and setting everything up as I'm getting on the air. So again, New York City Mayor Eric Adams has been indicted. The indictment is still sealed, so it is not totally clear what charges he is facing. We are waiting to see if we hear something about that tonight. But he has been indicted, and we are going to bring you some live coverage of this. And sorry, I'm just getting everything set up here, so thanks for your patience while I do this. Okay, hang on. And we're going to be taking your comments and questions on the air while we cover this as well. You can write to me on X, at Lookner on X is where you can reach me, at Lookner on X. And really quick here. Okay, here we go. There you go. NYC, New York Mayor Eric Adams indicted following corruption probe, New York Times reports. Others reported as well. Oh, is there something else? Did I misspell something or something like that? Let's see. New York City Mayor Eric Adams indicted. That looks right. How about the graphic? NYC Mayor Adams indicted. All right. Well, hopefully everything's spelled correctly. All right. Give me 1 second. Hold on. All right, we're back. We are doing this. Let's do this. Let's do it. Reuters says, New York City Mayor Eric Adams has been indicted after a federal corruption investigation, but the indictment is sealed and it is unclear what charges he will face, the New York Times reported on Wednesday, citing people with knowledge of the matter. It was not immediately clear whether Adams will be arrested or voluntarily surrender. The charges are likely to be unsealed on Thursday, when Adams may appear in court. The charges come after the FBI last November searched Adams' electronic devices, and in the wake of a slew of resignations by top city officials in recent weeks, as multiple federal corruption investigations entangle his administration. A spokesman for the U.S. Attorney's Office in Manhattan, which brought the charges, declined to comment. Adams' lawyers did not immediately respond to a request for comment. One of Adams' lawyers has said that the mayor, a Democrat, was cooperating with an investigation but did not say what it was about. The case is likely to complicate any Adams bid for re-election in 2025. Other Democratic politicians, including New York City Comptroller Brad Lander, plan to challenge Adams, once a key ally of Democratic President Joe Biden, for the party's nomination. The New York Times, citing a search warrant, reported in early November 2023 that federal authorities were investigating the possible acceptance by Adams' 2021 campaign of illegal donations, including by the Turkish government. Is that what he's indicted for? We don't know. The probe conducted by the U.S. Attorney's Office in Manhattan focused on whether Adams' 2021 mayoral campaign conspired with a Brooklyn construction company to funnel foreign money into the campaign through a straw donor scheme, the Times said. Reuters says authorities have also sought information about Adams' interactions with Israel, China, Qatar, South Korea, and Uzbekistan, according to the Times. Adams, a former police officer, has repeatedly denied wrongdoing and said he is cooperating with the probe. His lawyers said in a statement on August 15 that they had conducted their own investigation into the matters prosecutors were probing and had not found evidence of illegal conduct by Adams. To the contrary, we have identified extensive evidence undermining the reported theories of federal prosecution to the mayor, which we have voluntarily shared with the U.S. attorney, the lawyers said. And then at the end of this article, down at the bottom, it says at the bottom The largest U.S. city, New York, has been in a state of political upheaval for the past month. Police Commissioner Edward Caban resigned on September 12th, a week after FBI agents seized his phone. Days later, Adams' chief legal advisor resigned, saying she could no longer effectively serve in the position. On Wednesday, the city's public schools chancellor, David Banks, said he would retire at the end of the year, weeks after the Times reported his phones were seized by federal agents. So again, we're waiting to maybe, well, the indictment is still sealed, so we don't know the charges yet, although maybe some stuff will come out tonight. I'm going to check some different sources here. But he is the first New York City mayor to ever be indicted while in office. So we are bringing you some live breaking news coverage of this tonight. He is facing federal criminal charges. Federal criminal charges. Our viewer Don's analysis thinks the feds would not indict the Democratic mayor of NYC unless it's ironclad. Hey, I'm going to take some comments from you guys. Let me just say a quick thanks to our moderators who are here. We have RJ and Ruth Krafasi, and we have, they're moderating over on YouTube. We have, over on Twitch, we have moderating. I Got That Fire, McBritches, Sarah, and Surly Dev are all modding over there. Linda Belk and Larry moderate for us on X. And also we have our Facebook mods. We have Kay Lowry Body is moderating. Margaret Riley is moderating. Thank you. Valerie Gale Griffin, thank you. Also, thanks so much to Marnie and Aiden Sr. and PZ Papa Zulu for your support. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, hang on a moment here. Give me a moment. I did see a report a few minutes ago. Oops, hold on a second. Let's go back to me for a second. I saw a report a few minutes ago. Mary Lynn Buckley, she is with 1010 Wins News. Mary Lynn Buckley. It's a New York news station. Hold on. She has a couple updates. A half an hour ago, Mary Lynn Buckley said, I believe she's at the mayor's residence. Yeah, Gracie Mansion, the official residence of New York City. Mary Lynn Buckley said a half an hour ago, 1010 Wins has learned Mayor Adams has been indicted. We are at Gracie Mansion and we see NYPD cars at every entrance and exit of Gracie Mansion, which is the official residence of the mayor. She said, we see NYPD cars at every entrance and exit at Gracie Mansion and see police barricades up. We see members of law enforcement at the doors of Gracie Mansion. And she just posted an update. But here is some photos. I'll post in the chat some photos that she posted. I just posted a link to the chat to her photos of police at Gracie Mansion, the official residence of the mayor on East End and 88th in Manhattan. And she then said 9 minutes ago, one SUV just left the mansion. There is another parked inside behind the gates. NYPD officers are both inside and outside of Gracie Mansion at this time. Now, remember, this is a federal indictment. So NYPD officers would not be enforcing a federal indictment. So I don't know if they're there just because like he's been indicted and they're worried about like reporters coming or something. I don't know. I don't know the connection there. But she said there's a big NYPD presence at Gracie Mansion. Maybe they just don't want people, going there and trying to get an interview or something. I'm not sure. I'll post a link to her video in the chat. PXN America says crowd control. Yeah, I mean that very well might be it. But again, they would not be, enforcing a federal indictment. Emily, you know what? Hold on a second. I don't know. how to pronounce this, her last name. Is it, it's Emily, is it Ng, Ngo? I don't know how to pronounce the name. She's a Politico reporter. Somebody in the chat will know. The last name Ngo. Is it Ng? Emily, I'll say Ng, but I might be getting it very wrong. She says there are new calls for no. Some people saying people in the chat are saying different things. There are no. Some people are saying it's no. All right, I'll say no. People in the chat are saying no. Emily, no. NGO is saying officials' calls for the mayor to resign are flooding in, mostly from the left. She says, including AOC, NYC controller, for example. AOC had actually said this. Now, this is before the indictment. This was before the indictment. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, a congresswoman from New York City, actually, she said, I do not see how Mayor Adams, this is 6 hours ago, so this is before the indictment. She said, I do not see how Mayor Adams can continue governing New York City. The flood of resignations and vacancies are threatening government function. Nonstop investigations will make it impossible to recruit and retain a qualified administration for the good of the city. She should resign. That post was made this afternoon. Oh, hold on, is the mayor is on? Hold on. What's happening? What's happening? If he's giving an interview on some news station, I can't show that. I can't steal their footage. Yeah, I'm not aware. Is he giving an interview somewhere? Because he's not on, I don't see it on the official NYC Mayor social media. No, it's not on the social media. Hang on. Just one moment here. One moment. Hold on. I have an update here. From this reporter at the City NY, Alyssa Katz. Alyssa Katz of the City NY reports, sources who are familiar with the matter told the city that Adams is being charged with acting as an unregistered foreign agent for taking actions in his official capacity after receiving donations from foreign sources. Let me repeat this. Alyssa Katz, who is the executive editor of the City NY, an independent newsroom covering New York, Alyssa Katz writes, this was posted by, she posted this. She said, sources who are familiar with the matter told the city that Adams is being charged with acting as an unregistered foreign agent for taking actions in his official capacity after receiving donations from foreign sources. So that's one report. That is one report. Breaking news, Mary Lynn Buckley of 1010 Wins News reports a second black SUV has just left Gracie Mansion, the mayor's residence. It is similar to the one that Eric Adams usually drives in. Again, a second SUV has just left Gracie Mansion, where the mayor lives, on the Upper East Side. It is similar to the one that Eric Adams normally drives in. Where is it going? I don't know. Is he in it? I don't know. Oh, it's new statement. There's a videotape statement from the mayor. There's a videotape statement from the mayor. Hang on a second. Where is this? So the New York, I can't show it yet because it hasn't been officially released. The New York Daily News, Molly Crane Newman of the New York Daily News posted a videotape statement from the mayor, but I don't believe this has been officially released on the social media yet. It's a little confusing. So let me, first, so I can't play it. I'm going to post it in the chat. Let me see what, I just posted it on my X account, @Lookner, and I'm posting it in the chat too. Let me see what it says. So again, the New York Daily News reporter, Molly Crane Newman, says this is a statement from the mayor. But again, it hasn't been released yet. So it's kind of strange that it's floating around. Hang on a second here. BNO News posted it too. But again, I don't know why it hasn't been posted on. It's like an unofficial statement because I don't see it on the social media yet. As soon as I can confirm it's officially posted, I'll play it for you. But I don't want to play you a statement. Well, first of all, I don't have the rights to it yet because I don't know who it's coming from. But I don't want to play a statement and say this is the statement when it's not clear to me that it's official yet. Maybe they recorded it and then said, you know what, we'll come out with a different statement. So I'll tell you what he says in this statement that's floating around. Hang on, I got to watch it myself. I literally have to watch it myself because I'm just seeing it now. But I don't want to show it because, again, it hasn't been posted on the mayor's social media. It's like somehow gotten out before that. Let's see here. Hold on a second here. Why can't I see this? Hold on. Why am I not seeing it? Okay. I posted it in the chat. All right. So, according to this unofficial statement, he says, it's now my belief that the federal government intends to charge me with crimes. If so, these charges will be entirely false based on lies. But they would not be surprising, he says. I always knew that if I stood my ground for all of you, that I would be a target and a target. And a target what? A target and a target. And a target I became. He says, for months, leaks and rumors have been aimed at me in an attempt to undermine my credibility and paint me as guilty. He said, just this past week, they searched the home of our new police commissioner, looking for documents from 20 years ago, just 1 week after he joined my administration. Enough, he says. I will fight these injustices with every ounce of my strength and spirit. Okay, it's very strange. There is a 1-minute video statement that is floating around the internet from Mayor Eric Adams. Yet, as far as I'm aware, it has not been posted on his social media. So, let me check his social media again, but the last I checked, it was not posted there. So why is this statement floating around? It's very confusing. Also, like a cell phone goes off during the statement, it sounds like. Yeah, I don't see this officially posted yet. You know, somebody said, is it an AI video? I was thinking that. It doesn't look like it to me. It looks like some, but I want to be careful and not show it on the air because, again, I don't know exactly where that statement is coming from. All right, let me get you an update here. Let me get you an update. Here, look. New York City Mayor Eric Adams has been indicted, sources say. Associated Press. New York City Mayor Adams has been indicted by a grand jury on federal criminal charges, according to two people familiar with the matter. The indictment detailing the charges against Adams, a Democrat, was still sealed late Wednesday, according to the people who spoke with the Associated Press on condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to discuss the matter publicly. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Manhattan declined to comment. The indictment was first reported by the New York Times. Yes, they quote the statement. They quote it. They said, "I always knew that if I stood my ground for New Yorkers, that I would be a target, and a target I became," he said in a statement that implied he hadn't been informed of the indictment. So they're quoting the statement I just read to you. "If I am charged, I am innocent and will fight this with every ounce of my strength and spirit." It was not immediately clear when the charges would be made public or when Adams might have to appear in court. The indictment marks a stunning fall for Adams, a former police captain who won election nearly 3 years ago to become the second black mayor of the nation's largest city on a platform that promised a law and order approach to reducing crime. For much of the last year, Adams has faced growing legal peril with multiple federal investigations into top advisors, producing a drumbeat of subpoenas and high-level departures that has thrust City Hall into crisis. He has repeatedly said he wasn't aware of any wrongdoing and vowed as recently as Wednesday afternoon to stay in office. He is the first mayor in New York City history to be indicted while in office. If he were to resign, he would be replaced by the city's public advocate. I'm going to guess that's Jumaine Williams, who would then schedule a special election. Governor Kathy Hochul has the power to remove Adams from office. Hochul's office did not immediately return a request for comment Wednesday night. Hours before the charges were announced, U.S. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez called on Adams to resign, the first nationally prominent Democrat to do so. She cited the federal criminal investigations into the mayor's administration and a string of unexpected departures of top city officials. She had said, "I do not see how Mayor Adams can continue governing New York City." Adams reacted with scorn, dismissing Ocasio-Cortez as self-righteous. According to AP, the federal investigations into Adams' administration first emerged publicly on November 2nd of last year when FBI agents conducted an early morning raid on the Brooklyn home of Adams' chief fundraiser, Brianna Suggs. At the time, Adams insisted he followed the law and said he would be shocked if anyone on his campaign had acted illegally. "I cannot tell you how much I start the day with telling my team we've got to follow the law," he told reporters at the time. Days later, FBI agents seized the mayor's phones and iPad as he was leaving an event in Manhattan. The interaction was disclosed several days later by the mayor's attorney. Then on September 4th, a few weeks ago, federal investigators seized electronic devices from the city's police commissioner, schools chancellor, deputy mayor of public safety, first deputy mayor, and other trusted confidants of Adams, both in and out of City Hall. Federal prosecutors declined to discuss the investigations, but people familiar with elements of the cases described multiple separate inquiries involving senior Adams aides, relatives of those aides, campaign fundraising, and possible influence peddling of the police and fire departments. I don't know if anybody else is getting charged in this investigation, by the way, or investigations. A week after the searches, Police Commissioner Edward Caban announced his resignation, telling officers he didn't want the investigations to create a distraction. About 2 weeks after that, Schools Chancellor David Banks announced he would retire at the end of the year. Adams insisted he would keep doing the city's business and allow the investigations to run their course. All right, I'll finish this in a second, but I want to see if there's any updates here. So again, he has been indicted, and there's a report from the City NY, which is a news outlet in New York City. Alyssa Katz of the City NY says sources familiar with the matter told the city that Adams is being charged with acting as an unregistered foreign agent for taking actions in his official capacity after receiving donations from foreign sources. And let's see. Hang on a moment here. All right, give me a shout if you have comments, questions, updates at Lookner on X. Again, there is a videotaped statement floating around from Eric Adams, which I read to you, but it has not been officially posted. So it's confusing to me why this has come out. Hold on a second here. Give me a second. But it's not officially posted. Hold on. So I want to be clear on this. I don't want to be showing a statement where it turns out it was like not an official statement. Yeah, so I'm going to hold off on showing that statement until I have a little better sourcing on it. I mean, I don't want to show a statement that was like leaked out. When it's not the official statement. Oh, so all right, the New York Post is claiming, well, it says in a video statement released later. By who? Let's see. Let me get you more updates here. Let's get more updates. Do I have any video? I don't have any video at the moment, like live video. Maybe we'll get some in. Maybe we'll get some live videos in. When are they going to release the charges statement, says Dragon? That I don't even know exactly. I think I read an article that said tomorrow maybe, but I'm not sure. Let me, again, see if I can find that out. The Southern District of New York has not, the U.S. Attorney SDNY has not released a statement yet, which I assume they will. U.S. Attorney, Southern District of New York. I would assume... I believe that's who is prosecuting this, and I don't see a statement from them yet. Why wasn't he arrested? There might be, so I don't know if he's turning himself in at some point tonight or tomorrow or what's happening with all of that. It's a very good question. The New York Times says news reporters are gathered in the dark outside Gracie Mansion. Every so often, an SUV zips up the driveway. A couple of SUVs have left the driveway. One reportedly similar to the one he's usually in, Mayor Adams. The New York Times is saying this is, the New York Times is also saying this is his video. So I'm going to show the video. I'm going to show the video because multiple outlets, the New York Times and the New York Post, are saying this is his video. Okay? So I'm going to show this video because this is reportedly from the mayor. And B&O News actually posted it. B&O Desk? B&O News Live. Oh, no. They posted it from a reporter. So I got to be careful with this stuff because right now, I will, give me a moment. I told you what the statement said, but I got to be careful about stealing video. If somebody has a video and it's the property of them, I can't just show the video. So right now, that video has not been like officially posted by the mayor's office. So I don't want to start showing a video and then some news organization says, hey, you stole our video. So again, it's not been as far as I'm aware, it has not been posted anywhere. I don't know how some outlets have it, but you know, I can't make up these rules. So in the laws, so I got to just be careful here with this stuff. I'll post a link to it in the chat, and I already read what it says, and I'll read you again what it says. He literally said, I'm going to read it to you again. My fellow New Yorkers, it is now my belief that the federal government intends to charge me with crimes. If so, these charges will be entirely false, based on lies, but they would not be surprising, he says. I always knew if I stood my ground for all of you, that I would be a target, and a target I became. Hold on. He also says, he says, for months, leaks and rumors have been aimed at me in an attempt to undermine my credibility and paint me as guilty. Just this past week, they searched the home of our new police commissioner, he says, looking for documents from 20 years ago, just 1 week after he joined my administration. Enough. I will fight these injustices with every ounce of my strength and spirit. That's what he says. Okay. Oh, update. Update from Mary Lynn Buckley, who is reporting from Gracie Mansion. She is a reporter in New York. She says another car has pulled into Gracie Mansion. We have seen multiple cars moving in and out, at least 6 cars. Mayor Adams has put out a video saying he will fight this indictment. We have not physically seen him tonight. I will post a link to her video clip of a car pulling into Gracie Mansion. Maybe we can get a live shot of Gracie Mansion. I don't have it right now. That would be nice. Nothing yet. As if I can get something soon, I will certainly put it right on the screen for you. And to repeat, it is not official yet, but Alyssa Katz, who is the editor of the city, executive editor of the City NY, says sources who are familiar with the matter told the city that Adams is being charged with acting as an unregistered foreign agent for taking actions in his official capacity after receiving donations from foreign sources. But we are waiting to hear more. Hey, quick thanks to Myri, who says the Adams statement was on and it broadcast. Mayor Adams was on local stations? Yeah, again, I have the statement and I posted it on my social media. I just can't show it on my channel until it just has to do with where it's coming from and having it to be official and all that stuff. But I did post it on my X account. I posted a link in the chat. Thank you so much, Myri. I appreciate it. Also, Craig Casabona, thank you. Kelly Smith, Christopher Kiva, Allie B. from Tennessee, CJ, NJ Prepper, Susie Irish, Martin Gingrich. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. And Timido, and I'm a Silly Girl, and Am4 on Twitch. And thank you. All right, hang on a moment here. When he's going to turn himself in, that I do not know. Oh. Jape Stroiksma says there's now a longer version of this video floating around that Dan Rivoli from NY1 posted. But is it a longer version? Yeah, it's 2 hours and 20 minutes. Not 2 hours. It's 2 minutes and 20 seconds. It's 2 minutes and 20 seconds. I'll post it in the chat. But again, it's very strange because I would think it's going to get officially released soon. Longer version of statement. Dan Rivoli, who is a reporter at NY1, released it. I just posted the link in the chat. I haven't even watched the 2 minute and 20 second version yet. See, that shows you that the 1 minute version was some unofficial version. Well, I think or the 220 is an unofficial version. Still hasn't been officially released, though, that I can see on the social media. You would think they would post it on the social media for like the general public to see it on his social media. And that has not happened yet. Oh, hey guys, I got a message from, this is very helpful. I got a message that was very helpful from Janice Yu. Janice Yu, who is with ABC7NY, she messaged and said that Mayor Adams' team sent the video out via Dropbox to media outlets. So she has confirmed that. Awesome. I can show you the statement now, thanks to Janice Yu. That's nice of her. She literally wrote me and said, you can show the statement. Okay, Janice Yu has given me permission to show the statement from her account. She is reporter and fill-in anchor, ABC7NY. So big thumbs up to Janice Yu. So thanks to Janice Yu, here is the statement from the mayor from Janice Yu's account.
My fellow New Yorkers, it is now my belief that the federal government intends to charge me with crimes. If so, these charges will be entirely false, based on lies. But they would not be surprising. I always knew that if I stood my ground for all of you, that I would be a target, and a target I became. For months, leaks and rumors have been aimed at me in an attempt to undermine my credibility and paint me as guilty. Just this past week, they searched the home of our new police commissioner, looking for documents from 20 years ago, just 1 week after he joined my administration. Enough. I will fight these injustices with every ounce of my strength and my spirit.
All right, here's part two. Here's part two of the statement, courtesy of Janice Yu.
I know I am innocent. I will request an immediate trial so the New Yorkers can hear the truth. New Yorkers know my story. They know where I come from. I have been fighting injustice my entire life. That fight has continued as your mayor. Despite our pleas, when the federal government did nothing as its broken immigration policies overloaded our shelter system with no relief, I put the people of New York before party and politics. Now, if I am charged, many may say I should resign because I cannot manage the city while fighting the case. I can also understand how everyday New Yorkers will be concerned that I cannot do my job while I face accusation. But I have been facing these lies for months since I began to speak out for all of you and their investigation started. Yet the city has continued to improve. Make no mistake, you elected me to lead this city, and lead it I will. I humbly ask for your prayers and your patience as we see this through. God bless you, and God bless the city of New York. Thank you.
So there you go, a defiant Mayor Adams. Again, thanks so much to Janice Yu for letting us show her post. And hang on a moment here. So we are bringing you live coverage. Again, Mayor Adams, the first New York City mayor ever to be indicted while in office. Trying to get you more details here. You can write to me on X, at Lookner on X. Let me check some different sources here for more updates. Oops, hang on a moment. Hang on a moment. The charges, the indictment is still sealed. The indictment is still sealed. So we don't officially know the charges yet. There's some reporting about what they are, about what they supposedly are. But we don't know. Hold on a second here. We don't know officially what they are. I will read this again to you. According to Alyssa Katz, who is the executive editor at the City NY, an independent news outlet in New York, Alyssa Katz says, sources who are familiar with the matter told the city that Adams is being charged with acting as an unregistered foreign agent for taking actions in his official capacity after receiving donations from foreign sources. Let me check my articles again. This is AP. Let's see. AP says, okay, he's been indicted by a grand jury on federal criminal charges. The indictment was still sealed late Wednesday. The U.S. Attorney's Office declined to comment. It was first reported by the New York Times. We talked about what he said. He was defiant. He said he is innocent. It was not immediately clear. It was not immediately clear when the charges would be made public or when Adams might have to appear in court. The indictment marks a stunning turn for Adams, a former police captain who won election nearly 3 years ago to become the second black mayor of the nation's largest city on a platform that promised a law and order approach to reducing crime. For much of the last year, Adams has faced growing legal peril, with multiple federal investigations into top advisors producing a drumbeat of subpoenas, searches, and high-level departures that has thrust City Hall into crisis. In the last 2 weeks alone, the police chief who oversees the country's largest police force and the school's chancellor, who is in charge of the nation's biggest school district, both announced their resignations. Adams, who is expecting a tough primary election next year, faced immediate calls to resign from many of his declared or expected Democratic challengers. He is the first mayor in city history to be indicted while in office. If he were to resign, he would be replaced by the city's public advocate, Jermaine Williams. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. And then who would then schedule a special election. It is Jumaane. Sorry, it's Jumaane Williams. Jumaane Williams is the city's public advocate. I'm glad I corrected my error. Jumaane Williams. Okay. Governor Kathy Hochul has the power to remove him from office. Mayor Adams, Hochul's office, did not immediately return a request for comment Wednesday night. Let's see here. Where is the thing here? Something that might be relevant here. Over the summer, federal prosecutors subpoenaed Adams, his campaign arm, and City Hall, requesting information about the mayor's schedule, his overseas travel, and potential connections to the Turkish government. Does Reuters have anything new in their article? New York Mayor Adams indicted following corruption probe. It was not immediately clear whether Adams will be arrested or whether he would voluntarily surrender. The charges are likely to be unsealed tomorrow when Adams may appear in court. The charges come as after the FBI last November searched Adams' electronic devices and in the wake of a slew of resignations by top city officials in recent weeks as multiple federal corruption investigations entangle his administration. The Times, citing a search warrant, reported in early November 2023 that federal authorities were investigating the possible acceptance by Adams' 2021 campaign of illegal donations, including by the Turkish government. That probe, conducted by the U.S. Attorney's Office in Manhattan, focused on whether Adams' mayoral campaign conspired with a Brooklyn construction company to funnel foreign money into the campaign through a straw donor scheme. Again, I don't know if that's what this is about. Authorities have also sought information about Adams' interactions with Israel, China, Qatar, South Korea, and Uzbekistan, according to the Times. Adams denies wrongdoing. The Washington Post has an article, and it says the indictment against him could be unsealed as soon as tomorrow. Let me play again for those who haven't seen it. Here is the statement from Mayor Adams, and courtesy of, very nice of her, Janice Yu. Janice is a reporter and fill-in anchor at ABC7. So Janice posted this statement. It's a two-part. Well, it's posted in two parts. So I'll show you part one, then part two. Here is the statement from Eric Adams. There's two parts.
My fellow New Yorkers, it is now my belief that the federal government intends to charge me with crimes. If so, these charges will be entirely false, based on lies. But they would not be surprising. I always knew that if I stood my ground for all of you that I would be a target, and a target I became. For months, leaks and rumors have been aimed at me in an attempt to undermine my credibility and paint me as guilty. Just this past week, they searched the home of our new police commissioner, looking for documents from 20 years ago, just 1 week after he joined my administration. Enough. I will fight these injustices with every ounce of my strength and my spirit. My fellow New Yorkers, it is now my...
All right, here is part two coming up, courtesy of Janice Yu.
If I'm charged, I know I am innocent. I will request an immediate trials so the New Yorkers can hear the truth. New Yorkers know my story. They know where I come from. I have been fighting injustice my entire life. That fight has continued as your mayor. Despite our pleas, when the federal government did nothing as its broken immigration policies overloaded our shelter system with no relief, I put the people of New York before party and politics. Now, if I am charged, many may say I should resign because I cannot manage the city while fighting the case. I can also understand how everyday New Yorkers will be concerned that I cannot do my job while I face accusation. But I have been facing these lies for months since I began to speak out for all of you and their investigation started. Yet the city has continued to improve. Make no mistake, you elected me to lead this city, and lead it I will. I humbly ask for your prayers and your patience as we see this through. God bless you, and God bless the city of New York. Thank you.
All right, we're going to do a poll here. We're going to do a poll. Again, big thanks to Janice Yu for letting us watch the statement on her social media. I really appreciate that. So we're going to do a quick poll. The poll is, will Mayor Adams resign? Or will he stay on? Will Mayor Adams resign? Yes or no answer, and I'm starting the poll. I'm putting the poll up right now. All right, I just put it over there on YouTube, and now I'm going to put it on Twitch. And I'm going to show you what you guys are saying about it. A quick thank you to MetaGuide for your support. MetaGuide says, I'm right-leaning, but we need to make sure these charges are legitimate. Innocent until proven guilty. Yes, he is innocent until proven guilty. A good reminder from MetaGuide. John DFW. John says, innocent until proven guilty. I don't trust our government, federal government, on anything. Hey, thank you, John DFW, for your support. Also, BDK, and Jason Carlton, and David Bozick, and Joseph Fiorentino. Thank you so much. Also, Craig Casabona. And again, Myri, thank you again for your support. Also, thank you to Dominic Shiro. Thank you so much, Dominic. Really appreciate it. Hey, and let me just shout out our moderators. You guys are awesome. Good luck, Duck. I got that fire. Sarah, Surly Dev, Tariag on Twitch, on Facebook. We have Kay Lowry Body moderating over there. Margaret Riley. Thanks to all of our Facebook moderators. Sorry if I'm missing anybody. And on YouTube, Sarah55, Ruth Krafasi, Charm Accents. Thank you for moderating. Jessica S. Linda Belk and Larry on X. Thank you. Let's see if we have any more reporting. Oh, let's look at the poll. Let's look at the poll. We got to look at the poll. All right. What did you guys say? Wow. People are split on this one. I asked, will Mayor Adams resign? Over on YouTube, it is very close on YouTube. 51% say no, 49% say yes. And on Twitch, it's also close on Twitch. It is close on Twitch. Forty-4% say yes, 56% say no. So you guys are split. April Coco says he will eventually resign, but first he will resist. Maria Madrigal says nope, no resignation, he'll stay. Skyla AE says not resigning. Gene Brown says if it's federal, he's done, they don't miss much. Jason Carlton says we don't know all the facts. Lori Wagner says we don't know the charges. They are sealed as of now, but they could be released tomorrow. That is true. They could be. I've only seen one reporter tonight saying what they believe the charges are based on some source. Thanks, Adam Garcia, for watching. Stickler for Change thinks he'll be removed by the governor before he resigns. You know, the thing about that is, that's a tough thing for the governor to do. If you're the governor and if you're gonna remove somebody before they've had their day in court, I have a hard time believing she'll do that. But who knows? Jewish Pickle says his image is now ruined. When that happens, you lose the trust of the people. He has to resign. All right. Thank you for voting in the poll. Pretty close there. 51-49 yes on YouTube and 58-42 no on Twitch. Let's see if we can get you some more updates here. The city New York is saying, sources familiar with the matter told the city, New York, that Adams is being charged with acting as an unregistered foreign agent for taking actions in his official capacity after receiving donations from foreign sources. The city also reports that the indictment is expected to be unsealed tomorrow. But again, the city New York, the New York news outlet, is saying sources who are familiar with the matter told the city that Adams is being charged with acting as an unregistered foreign agent for taking actions in his official capacity after receiving donations from foreign sources. Let me check some other sources here. NBC New York says it was not immediately clear which charges Adams would face or what investigation they may be in relation to. The New York Times says federal prosecutors are expected to announce the details of the indictment on Thursday. It is interesting that there's so little out. Again, the city New York is like the one outlet that is reporting what they believe the charges will be. I haven't seen any other outlet yet say, like, sources tell us it'll be this. which is really interesting. The New York Post. Oh, the New York Post says Adams will surrender to authorities early next week. That is from the New York Post. The New York Post says Adams will surrender to authorities early next week. Oh, the New York Post also says that details remained unclear but are believed to be connected to allegations of the Turkish government illegally funneling money into his mayoral campaign in exchange for approval of the Turkish consulate in Manhattan, according to sources. I'm going to read that, what I just said again. So here's some reporting from the New York Post. I think it's either mayoral or mayoral. It's either one. So the New York Post says that charges are believed to be connected to allegations of the Turkish government illegally funneling money into his mayoral campaign in exchange for approval of the Turkish consulate in Manhattan, according to sources. Also, they say that he is expected to turn himself into federal authorities next week. Early next week. All right, I got to post this. I got to post that. Now, again, that doesn't mean that that's accurate, but we have two sources talking about these charges being related to foreign money. Okay, so the New York Post says charges Eric Adams criminal charges are believed to be connected to allegations of the Turkish government illegally funneling money into his mayoral campaign in exchange for approval of the Turkish consulate in Manhattan. Also, Adams will surrender to authorities early next week. That is from the New York Post. So some new reporting from the New York Post. Let me just repeat that one more time. So the New York Post says Adams will surrender to authorities early next week, and that the charges are believed to be related to the charges are believed to be connected to allegations of the Turkish government illegally funneling money into his mayoral campaign in exchange for approval of the Turkish consulate in Manhattan. Is that true? I don't know. But that's what the New York Post is saying. And the New York Post had an article on this whole Turkish consulate thing last November, where they had reported last November, the New York Post, that they said sources told the New York Post that the FDNY, Fire Department of New York, had deemed the building unsafe, and that the Turkish government had reached out to Adams to help get the doors open on a new multi-million-dollar Manhattan consulate. Although they say that was, let's see, hold on a second here. Anyways, that's something that the New York Post had reported on last November. One of our viewers, Derailed Freight Train, said, "In the pocket of Big Turkey?" Question mark. The New York Daily News says it is unclear if the charges were related into a probe into foreign influence and donations from Turkey related to his 2021 mayoral campaign or another one of the investigations swirling around his administration in recent days. Wow. I'm just checking some different reports to see if there's anything different. The Wall Street Journal says it couldn't immediately be learned what charges he's facing. Federal prosecutors are expected to announce details of the case tomorrow. I'm going to show the statement again in a second. There is a mayor election next year in New York. All right, so again, has this updated yet? Let's see. Do we have an update here? Do we have an update? The Washington Post says Adams' administration has seen a flurry of high-profile resignations in recent weeks, including from his former police commissioner, whose devices were collected by federal authorities for examination. And his home was searched by investigators who also targeted his brother. Other upper-level members of Adams' administration faced similar searches. Last year, Mayor Adams' phones were seized by federal agents who were looking for potential ties between his campaign and the Turkish government. An Adams campaign worker, Brianna Suggs, had her Brooklyn home searched around that time. We are bringing you live updates here. Mayor of New York City, Eric Adams, indicted. Federal charges. Is he going to go to jail eventually? I have no idea. Wow. And he is the acting mayor, the first serving mayor, the first acting mayor to be indicted. Our viewer, Tough Guy Workman, thinks the feds must have some really good incriminating evidence. So we're bringing you updates. Thank you, by the way, to Bebop and Rocksteady and Veritas Justice and Lucia Hariso. Lucia thinks he crossed someone. The left usually just sweeps this under the rug. That's what Lucia says. He is getting the DJT treatment. That is what Lucia says. Thank you, Lucia, for your support. And Bebop and Rocksteady. Let's show you the statement again. For people who haven't seen it, I think it's helpful to see this statement. So let's take a look at his statement. And then we'll take some more comments from you guys. Here is the statement courtesy of Janice Yu. Courtesy of Janice Yu, reporter and fill-in anchor at ABC7. It's a two-part statement. I want to show it for the people who have not seen it yet. Here is Eric Adams, Mayor Eric Adams tonight, his two-part statement.
My fellow New Yorkers, it is now my belief that the federal government intends to charge me with crimes. If so, these charges will be entirely false, based on lies. But they would not be surprising. I always knew that if I stood my ground for all of you, that I would be a target, and a target I became. For months, leaks and rumors have been aimed at me in an attempt to undermine my credibility and paint me as guilty. Just this past week, they searched the home of our new police commissioner, looking for documents from 20 years ago, just 1 week after he joined my administration. Enough. I will fight these injustices with every ounce of my strength and my spirit. My fellow New
All right, let's play part 2.
If I'm charged, I know I am innocent. I will request an immediate trials so the New Yorkers can hear the truth. New Yorkers know my story. They know where I come from. I have been fighting injustice my entire life. That fight has continued as your mayor. Despite our pleas, when the federal government did nothing as its broken immigration policies overloaded our shelter system with no relief, I put the people of New York before party and politics. Now, if I am charged, many may say I should resign because I cannot manage the city while fighting the case. I can also understand how everyday New Yorkers will be concerned that I cannot do my job while I face accusation. But I have been facing these lies for months since I began to speak out for all of you and their investigation started. Yet the city has continued to improve. Make no mistake, you elected me to lead this city, and lead it I will. I humbly ask for your prayers and your patience as we see this through. God bless you, and God bless the city of New York. Thank you.
So there's the statement from Eric Adams, courtesy of Janice Yu. Very defiant. He says that the charges would be lies and not true, and he is innocent, and he is not going to resign. All right, let's see if we have updates for you here. In the last couple minutes. Courtney Gross, who is with NY1 News, says, where is it here? Says that the mayor is currently meeting with lawyers and his former chief of staff, Frank Carone, at Gracie Mansion. So Courtney Gross, at 20 minutes ago, said that the mayor was meeting with lawyers and his former chief of staff at Gracie Mansion, which is the official residence of the mayor. I'd like to, since we saw some reporting that this might be related to this Turkey thing, I'd like to give you a little more background on that. You can see Eric Adams has been indicted by a grand jury on federal charges. Is this updated at all? The indictment was still sealed. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to hear the actual charges myself, but just to go over what we've seen reported so far. Just to go over the reporting so far. The New York Post says that oh, hold on, breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. Breaking news. Sources told the New York Post. The New York Post is reporting. The New York Post is reporting. Sources told the New York Post that two others, Adams' top campaign fundraiser, Brianna Suggs, and his director of Asian Affairs, Winnie Greco, are expected to be named in the indictment. At least 3 others are also expected to be charged. However, the Post cannot immediately confirm their identities. Wow. Breaking news. The New York Post says, sources told the Post that 2 others, Adams' top campaign fundraiser, Brianna Suggs, and his director of Asian Affairs, Winnie Greco, are expected to be named in the indictment, which I think means charged, because they say at least 3 others are also expected to be charged. However, the Post could not confirm their identities. So what the Post is saying there is that that several others will be charged, including Adams' top campaign fundraiser, Brianna Suggs, and his director of Asian Affairs, Winnie Greco. And at least 3 other people. And at least 3 other people. Some people are saying Rico? I have no idea. It's just buried. It's just in their article. They just updated their article online. Wow. So again, the New York Post is reporting that the mayor and his top campaign fundraiser and his director of Asian Affairs are all going to be charged, and at least 3 other people. Wow. Wow. How about that? Big news from the New York Post. Whoa. All right. Let me see if I can find any of the reporting on that. Yes. Boiler Navy says tip of the iceberg, grabbing some popcorn. My gosh. My gosh. Julie Shields says that doesn't sound good. Now, this could end up being false, but that's what the New York Post is saying. NBC News New York talks about this whole Turkish consulate thing, which possibly he's being charged for. The New York Post has said tonight that that the charges are believed to be connected to allegations of the Turkish government illegally funneling money into his mayoral campaign in exchange for approval of the Turkish consulate in Manhattan. That's from the New York Post. NBC New York tonight, in their article, said that federal prosecutors have been seeking information about a time period when Adams was still Brooklyn Borough president, but had won the Democratic primary and was widely expected to be mayor in the fall. During that period, NBC New York says Turkish officials were trying to get the city to expedite FDNY approval of a new diplomatic building that was being held up because of safety concerns. And prosecutors are looking into whether NBC New York said sources familiar with the matter said the mayor texted the then commissioner of the fire department about when the occupancy of the building can take place. So again, there's this question of whether he took, I guess, campaign money in exchange for improperly or illegal, in exchange for getting approval, either faster approval or just approval of this Turkish consulate building. That it's, again, these are just the things I read you are from the New York Post and the New York and NBC New York. And the New York Post says that it's believed that the charges are related to allegations of the Turkish government illegally funneling money into his mayoral campaign in exchange for approval of the Turkish consulate. And then NBC New York had some details about it. Has been reported that that is being something that's been looked into. Okay, so again, big news. The New York Post says sources told the Post that two others besides Adams, his top campaign fundraiser, Brianna Suggs, and his director of Asian Affairs, Winnie Greco, are also going to be charged, and at least three others are also expected to be charged, who the Post could not confirm their identities. Now, none of that has not been confirmed. That's New York Post reporting. Whew. Wow. Wow. Thanks so much to Steve Will Survive for your support. And Lisa Fiorenzo for the gift memberships. Thank you so much. Bebop and Rocksteady says that's 6, find the 7th person. Again, we don't know. According to the New York Post, at least 6 people are getting charged. Oh, hold on a second here. Give me one moment. One moment here. Write to me on X at Lookner. I mean, could we see a bunch of people connected to him get charged tomorrow? Remember, this makes me think of Bob Menendez. Give me 1 second here. Give me one moment. So much going on. So much going on. That's not what I wanted to look up. I wanted to look up something else. Bob Menendez, you can see this is an article from the from AP here. Oops, sorry. Bob Menendez resigned in August after he was convicted on charges that he used his influence to meddle in 3 different state and federal criminal investigations. Prosecutors said he helped one bribe-paying friend get a multi-million-dollar deal with a Qatari investment fund and another keep a contract to provide religious certification for meat bound for Egypt. It just, I believe those might have been foreign agent charges as well. Robert Menendez, where is it here? Corruption charges and conviction. Where is it here? 2023 invited. Yes, it says in the Wikipedia article. It says in September 2023, New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez was charged with corruption in allegations. Among the allegations were that he provided sensitive U.S. government information and took other steps that secretly aided the government of Egypt. He resigned from being senator. It just made me think of that. Okay. Do we have new updates here? Well, let me take some comments from you guys. Will we see Eric Adams and a bunch of other people indicted tomorrow? McGann says it seems like it's the same thing. Well, legally, I don't know the specific charges he is facing, and I don't remember the specific charges that Menendez faced. Jay Augustine says they can't get a clean mayor there. The New York Post says he's expected to turn himself in next week, early next week. Chaz says, has he been arrested? No, nothing about him being arrested. And again, the New York Post says he will surrender to authorities early next week. But that's not confirmed. Thank you, Bebop and Rocksteady. He says, didn't Adams and the current governor have some very public disagreements? Wonder what role they played in giving this the green light. This would not be the governor. This is federal charges, so it would not have anything to do with the governor because it's federal charges. Even if it's state charges, in theory, that shouldn't have anything to do with the governor, I believe. But this is federal charges. Thank you, Bebop and Rocksteady. Thank you, Maria Madrigal, who says, I feel bad for the city of New York. The city really does have a humanitarian crisis with the immigration crime and now NY leadership. How are they going to find a resolution for all these moving parts? There were some details in this article I hadn't even gotten a chance to read yet. So let's just go over some things here. So Eric Adams, the mayor of New York, has been indicted. He is the first New York City mayor to ever be indicted while in office. Okay? According to the New York Post, the indictment is believed to be connected to allegations of the Turkish government illegally funneling money into Eric Adams' mayoral campaign in exchange for approval of the Turkish consulate building in Manhattan. According to the City New York, which is a New York news outlet, they say that sources familiar with the matter told the city that Adams is being charged with acting as an unregistered foreign agent for taking actions in his official capacity after receiving donations from foreign sources. Okay, so just going over some of this. The indictment is still sealed, says the AP. U.S. Attorney's Office declined to comment. There's still no statement from the U.S. Attorney's Office in Manhattan yet. I would think maybe they'll put out a statement tonight, but they have not. I'll play you his speech again shortly. He released a statement where he basically denied everything and said he's innocent and said these are lies. It was not immediately clear when the charges would be made public, but some sources a bunch of places are saying that the indictment will be unsealed tomorrow. By the way, the New York Post is reporting that in addition to Eric Adams, the New York Post reports that also being charged in the indictment, according to the New York Post, they say that 2 others are expected to be named: Adams' top campaign fundraiser Brianna Suggs and his director of Asian Affairs, Winnie Greco, plus at least 3 others are also expected to be charged, according to the Post, who's not confirmed their identities. So according to the New York Post, at least 6 people will be charged. Adams has repeatedly said he wasn't aware of any wrongdoing and vowed as recently as Wednesday afternoon to stay in office. He is expecting a tough primary election next year and is facing immediate calls to resign from many of his declared or expected Democratic challengers. Adams is the first mayor in New York City to be indicted while in office. If he were to resign, he would be replaced by the city's public advocate, Jumaane Williams, who would then schedule a special election. The governor, Kathy Hochul, has the power to remove Adams from office. Her office did not immediately return a request for comment tonight. The federal investigations into Adams' administration first emerged publicly on November 2nd of last year when FBI agents conducted an early morning raid on the Brooklyn home of Adams' chief fundraiser, Brianna Suggs, who, according to the New York Post, will be named in the indictment. And by named, I believe they mean charged. At the time, last November, Adams insisted he followed the law and said he would be shocked if anyone on his campaign had acted illegally. He said, "I cannot tell you how much I start the day with telling my team we've got to follow the law." Days later last year, FBI agents seized Adams' phones and iPad as he was leaving an event in Manhattan. Then on September 4th of this year, federal investigators seized electronic devices from the city's police commissioner, the city's schools chancellor, the city's deputy mayor of public safety, the city's first deputy mayor, and other trusted confidants of Adams, both in and out of City Hall. That was just 3 weeks ago. Federal prosecutors declined to discuss the investigations, but people familiar with elements of the cases described multiple separate inquiries involving senior Adams aides, relatives of those aides, campaign fundraising, and possible influence peddling of the police and fire departments. That fire department mention is maybe relevant to the other reporting we're seeing, suggesting this might have something to do with charging Adams with illegally getting Turkish campaign money for expediting approval of a Turkish consulate building. Again, that has not been confirmed. That's what this is about, but there were some sources that were suggesting it might be about that. Just a couple weeks ago, the police commissioner of New York, Edward Caban, if I'm pronouncing that right, let me see if I am. I'm going to say Edward Caban, but it may not be right. Just a couple weeks ago, the police commissioner, Edward Caban, announced his resignation, telling officers he didn't want the investigations to create a distraction. The timing is a little weird. But about 2 weeks later, schools chancellor David Banks announced he would retire at the end of the year. That was more recent. I don't have the exact dates on that stuff, but it's recent. And hold on here. Yeah, that was announced a day ago. A day ago, David Banks, the school's chancellor, said he would resign. By the way, really quick, in the Eric Adams statement, when it originally came out, there was like a minute video of it, and I said, oh, a cell phone rings during it, but it looks like the cell phone ring is not on the actual statement. I'm just clearing this up from before. No one remembers I said this. But in the actual statement, we got the official copy. There's no cell phone ringing in it. Adams himself insisted he would keep doing the city's business and allow the investigations to run their course. Over the summer, federal prosecutors subpoenaed Adams, his campaign arm, and City Hall, requesting information about the mayor's schedule, his overseas travel, and potential connections to the Turkish government. Adams spent 22 years in New York City's police department before going into politics, firstly as a state senator, then as Brooklyn Borough president, a largely ceremonial position. He was elected mayor in 2021, defeating a diverse field of Democrats in the primary and then easily beating Guardian Angels founder Curtis Lewa, Republican, in the general election. After more than 2 years in office, says AP, his popularity has declined. While the city has seen an increase in jobs and a drop in certain categories of crime, the administration has been preoccupied with efforts to find housing for tens of thousands of international migrants who overwhelm the city's homeless shelters. There has been also a steady drip of accusations and a swirl of suspicion around people close to the mayor. The Manhattan District Attorney brought charges against 6 people, including a former police captain along close with Adams, over an alleged scheme to funnel tens of thousands of dollars to the mayor's campaign by manipulating the public matching funds programs in the hopes of receiving preferential treatment from the city. Adams was not accused of wrongdoing in that case. Adams' former top building safety official, Eric Ulrich, was charged last year with accepting $150,000 in bribes and improper gifts in exchange for political favors, including providing access to the mayor. He pleaded not guilty and is fighting the charges. In February, Winnie Greco. According to the New York Post, Winnie Greco is going to be named in the indictment. And by named, according to the Post, they mean charged. And they say Director of Asian Affairs Winnie Greco is expected to be charged, the New York Post, in their article tonight. So in February, federal investigators searched 2 properties owned by one of Adams' close aides, Winnie Greco, who has raised thousands of dollars in campaign donations from the city's Chinese American communities and later became his Director of Asian Affairs. Greco hasn't commented publicly on the FBI searches of her properties and continues to work for the city. So Winnie Greco, who federal investigators searched 2 of her properties in February, according to the in New York Post, she will also be charged. Again, I can't confirm that. That's what the New York Post is saying. When agents seized electronic devices from the former police commissioner who recently resigned in early September, they also visited his twin brother, James Caban, a former police officer who runs a nightlife consulting business. Law enforcement agents also took devices from the school's chancellor, his brother Philip Banks, formerly a top NYPD chief who is now a deputy mayor for public safety, and their brother Terrence Banks, who ran a consulting firm that promised to connect businesses to government stakeholders, and from the first deputy mayor, Sheena Wright, who is David Banks' domestic partner. Oh, my head hurts. All denied any wrongdoing. While all of these investigations swirled, federal authorities also searched the homes of newly named interim police commissioner Thomas Donlan and seized materials unrelated to his police work. Donlan confirmed the search and said it involved materials that had been in his possession for 20 years. I mean, all of these names and investigations and devices taken. A person familiar with that investigation said it had to do with classified documents dating from the years when Donlan worked for the FBI. Oh my gosh. Anyways, so Eric Adams has been indicted. The New York Post says that also that his top campaign fundraiser and his Director of Asian Affairs and at least 3 other people will be charged. That's what the New York Post says. Oh my gosh. So who else? If it's true that at least 3 other people will be charged, who are they? Oh my gosh. Wow. It's hard to even read all. I mean, that's just like a summary. And it's all these different investigations going on and everything. So again, innocent until proven guilty. Nobody's been proven guilty yet. Rock Canine, our viewer, says so much corruption. Money, money, money. Wow. When will we know, says Ruth Krafasi. Multiple reports say the indictment will be unsealed tomorrow. I will check and see if there's any other reporting going on tonight about what these charges are about and who's getting charged. The New York Post has said at least 6 people are getting charged. Hey, thank you, Mr. Blanks-a-lot. That's so kind of you. Thank you so much, Mr. Blanks-a-lot, for your donations. Really nice of you. Also, thank you to Calendar Page. Thank you, Calendar Page. I appreciate that. For aspirin, she says. Thank you. Also, Marnie, thanks for the gift membership. Hey, I want to thank our moderators who are here. I really appreciate them. Oh, thanks, Notorious Rob and Relila, for your support on Twitch, and Lloyd Christmas. Thanks to our moderators over there on Twitch. Good Luck Duck, I Got That Fire, Sarah, Surly Dev, and Tariag, all there on Twitch moderating. And also over on Facebook, Kay Lowry Body and Margaret Riley have been moderating. Thank you over there. And on YouTube, Ruth Kafrasi, Cynthia Moon. Thank you, all of our other moderators there as well. And Linda Belk and Larry on X. I'm going to show you the statement again in a second he made. By the way, thank you also, Amwise, for your support. Thank you. We will definitely have more coverage coming of the Israel-Hezbollah situation. I know there's a major hurricane that's forecast for Florida. There's just too much news going on. I'll do my best to get to all of it, but it's just one me here. So I actually was going to sleep some more tonight, but then this happened, so I rushed on the air when I saw this. So I'm doing my best to cover things, but there's just so much news. So, but I'll keep doing my best to bring you coverage. Let's see here. And thank you. So Mr. Blanks-a-lot, thanks for shouting out the mods. Mr. Blanks-a-lot, thank you. Almazan says, was he arrested? Almazan Ian, no. The New York Post says he's expected to turn himself in early next week. He is not arrested. He is reportedly, at least of about an hour ago, at the governor's mansion. Oh my gosh, so much news. Chris Hayes, who is with MSNBC, says, you are absolutely not prepared for how insane the special election will be if Adams resigns. Okay, the New York Post has a new article in the New York Post, and the headline of that article is, they've been reporting this already, but they now have an article. The headline of the New York Post article is, Adams' top campaign fundraiser, Brianna Suggs, and close aide Winnie Greco, Adams' top campaign fundraiser, Brianna Suggs, and Winnie Greco, close aide, his current director of Asian Affairs, expected to be named in bombshell indictment. And at least 3 others are also expected to be charged. So again, when they say named, I assume they mean charged, because the way they write it is, Brianna, is that those 2 are expected to be named, and at least 3 others are also expected to be charged. So I assume named in the indictment means charged. Although they could mean just their names appear in the indictment. But the way they wrote the story, it says, those 2 will be named, and at least 3 others are also expected to be charged, which would suggest that the first 3 are all getting charged. So that's why I'm saying that. Now, if it turns out that they meant named but not charged, then they wrote the article wrong. But that's the wording they use. They say his top campaign fundraiser and his current director of Asian Affairs are expected to be named in the indictment, and at least 3 others are also expected to be charged, which to me means the first 2 they mentioned are going to be charged. Yes, at least, as our viewer M. Weeder says, at least 3 others. So we could have a bunch of indictments coming out tomorrow. Shaggy says, I count 6, at least 6. Thank you, Mr. Blanks a lot. Thank you for your support. Do we have a lawyer in the House who can confirm that what they're talking about when they say named in the indictment? But again, the way they wrote it, they implied that they would be that the two they mentioned in the headline will be charged. That's what they said. Yeah, Kerry, we talked about this, I think, a little earlier. Kerry Takahashi sent me a report from a couple days ago that federal authorities searched the homes of the New York City's newly named interim police commissioner. Yeah, we talked about that in the AP report. Should we watch his statement one more time? I think we should watch the statement one more time. For people who haven't seen it, let's just one last time play Eric Adams' statement about what happened, about these charges. Let's just do this one more time. Here, courtesy of Janice Yu, who is reporter and fill-in anchor for ABC New York. Janice Yu kindly is letting me show it from her social media. Here is the statement in two parts from Mayor Adams tonight.
My fellow New Yorkers, it is now my belief that the federal government intends to charge me with crimes. If so, these charges will be entirely false, based on lies. But they would not be surprising. I always knew that if I stood my ground for all of you, that I would be a target, and a target I became. For months, leaks and rumors have been aimed at me in an attempt to undermine my credibility and paint me as guilty. Just this past week, they searched the home of our new police commissioner, looking for documents from 20 years ago, just 1 week after he joined my administration. Enough. I will fight these injustices with every ounce of my strength and my spirit. My fellow New Yorkers.
All right, let me play part two. Oops, what happened to part two? Here is part two.
If I'm charged, I know I am innocent. I will request an immediate trial so the New Yorkers can hear the truth. New Yorkers know my story. They know where I come from. I have been fighting injustice my entire life. That fight has continued as your mayor. Despite our pleas, when the federal government did nothing as its broken immigration policies overloaded our shelter system with no relief, I put the people of New York before party and politics. Now, if I am charged, many may say I should resign because I cannot manage the city while fighting the case. I can also understand how everyday New Yorkers will be concerned that I cannot do my job while I face accusation. But I have been facing these lies for months since I began to speak out for all of you and their investigation started. Yet the city has continued to improve. Make no mistake, you elected me to lead this city, and lead it I will. I humbly ask for your prayers and your patience as we see this through. God bless you, and God bless the city of New York. Thank you.
It's interesting that he takes a shot at the federal government in this statement. Where is that part again? Where he takes a shot at the federal government over the immigration stuff?
In immediate trials so the New Yorkers can hear the truth. New Yorkers know my story. They know where I come from. I have been fighting injustice my entire life. That fight has continued as your mayor. Despite our pleas, when the federal government did nothing as its broken immigration policies overloaded our shelter system with no relief, I put the people of New York before party and politics.
Yeah, it's just kind of interesting that that he's giving this statement where he's denying these allegations and saying he's innocent, and then in the middle of it he just takes a shot at the federal government over their immigration policy. Because it sort of seems like he's connecting the prosecution arm of the federal government that's charging him with the arm of the federal government, I guess the executive branch that's responsible for immigration policy. My Mussels is saying, it says he's saying he's a target. Yeah, maybe that's the implications, that the federal government has it in for him. Susie Irish says he's playing the victim, it seems. Cherry Sour says he's saying it's a political hit job. Peter Popper says he seems angry, in my opinion. I don't trust him at all. David says no politician is clean. Ruth says we will find out tomorrow. Yeah, the indictment's supposed to come out tomorrow, reportedly. I'm going to take one last look and see if I can find any last reporting here. Any last reporting here. Let me see. Teresa thinks it's a political hit indictment. Hey, look, we got to see what, he'll get his day in court, and the government will get a chance to present its evidence. But a grand jury has indicted him. So they did have to present evidence to a grand jury. Thank you to D. Maynard for our new member, and Big Matt, and Dimitro House. Thanks, Dimitro House. Yeah, I mean, the New York Post, it's a little, they said his campaign, again, the New York Post says that Adams' top campaign fundraiser, Brianna Suggs, and close aide Winnie Greco, his current director of Asian Affairs, are expected to be named in the indictment. At least 3 others are also expected to be charged. However, the Post could not immediately confirm their identities, which the way it's written says that his campaign fundraiser and close aide and his director of Asian Affairs will also be charged. But maybe that's just poorly written and they meant to say they would be named but not charged. So we'll just have to see. But the New York Post is reporting that other people will be charged. All right, let me just do one last kind of search here and just see if I have any other details for you. Checking some different outlets here, seeing what they say. Nothing there. New reporting from the New York Daily News. 2 sources familiar with the matter say the charges against Adams stem from an investigation by the Manhattan U.S. Attorney's Office that has scrutinized allegations that Turkey's government funneled illegal donations into Adams' campaign coffers. One of the sources said the charges involve allegations that pertain to interactions with foreign governments. 3 sources said other individuals are expected to be named as defendants as well, named as defendants. Okay, so the New York Daily News is saying that the charges stem from an investigation by the Manhattan U.S. Attorney's Office that has scrutinized allegations that Turkey's government funneled illegal donations into Adams' 2121 campaign coffers. Also, that the allegations pertain to interactions with foreign governments, and that others are expected to be named as defendants. And as I mentioned to you, the New York Post said that the indictment is believed to be connected to allegations of the Turkish government illegally funneling money into his mayoral campaign in exchange for approval of the Turkish consulate building in Manhattan. Okay. But there's all of these investigations, federal investigations going on into people connected with Eric Adams and apparently Eric Adams. So who knows where this is all going? And, you know, it's possible that there could be charges in the investigation. Well, there's going to be charges coming out tomorrow, but maybe in one of the other investigations, there'll be other charges for that investigation. So there could be more charges for a different investigation in the future. Because reportedly, there's different federal investigations going on. Whew. Oh, my gosh. No, Jenna Ferrari Maggio says if he resigns, he doesn't get prosecuted. No, that's not the way it works. No, the resigning from office would not free him from being prosecuted. He would still be charged. So again, multiple outlets now saying that multiple people will be charged tomorrow when this comes out, when the indictment is unsealed, which looks like it's going to be tomorrow. Yes, this is federal charges, as Catherine said. All right. By the way, thanks to Geraldine Friedrich and DTEX1836 and Paul L. for your support. And Coffee Beard. Coffee Beard says a Turkish consulate pay-to-play is cover for worse doings. That's what Coffee Beard thinks. Thanks also D. Maynard. All right, guys. Our viewer Al Hazelross says, got to see the evidence. So from the reporting, tomorrow, today, it's now Thursday today, sometime today, I'm assuming there will be a press conference by federal authorities in New York, and they will release a press release, and they might even release a charging document, and we'll get much more information. Now, if others around him are charged, when would they be arrested or have to turn themselves in? I don't know. So who knows? Who knows what's going on? Ruth Grafazzi says, going to be crazy. All right. I think it's that time, guys. I think we're getting to that time. So much news. Eric Wong thinks he is incompetent to remain in office after this. You know what we'll do? We did a poll question, will he resign? Really quick, the last thing we're going to do, one last poll question, should he resign? Not will he, should he? Last question, really quick flash poll, 1 minute poll, really quick. Should Mayor Adams resign? Really quick. Now, go, I'm posting it on Twitch and YouTube right now. Really quick poll. Quick poll. One minute poll. Hey, thanks to David Solavi. David Solavi, thanks for your support, David. Here's what you guys said. Here is what you said about this poll question. I am going to show it to you right now. I'm going to show you the results right now. I'm going to get it on the screen right now. Where is this? Okay, over there on YouTube, here are the poll results on YouTube. Should Mayor Adams resign? Should he resign? Not will he resign. 77% of people on YouTube think he should resign who voted. And then over there on Twitch, in our flash poll, it's very close. It is very close on Twitch. Wow, is this close? Our viewers are coming together across the platforms. 76% on Twitch, 77% on YouTube. You have come together in the polls on Twitch and YouTube. You are very close. All right. That's it. That's it. We're wrapping this up. Guys, I don't even know if I'll be able to do a stream on this today, later, because there's all this other news, but maybe we will. We will be doing some more Israel news. I know the hurricane's supposed to happen, a very serious hurricane. So maybe more Israel news in a couple hours or something, a little later tonight. Maybe more Israel Hezbollah news. Probably we'll do that. Anyways, I appreciate you joining our stream. And I really thank you for watching our update on this breaking news situation. Let's see what happens later today in this story. But thanks for joining. And again, I am anticipating coming on the air again in a little bit with some more, I believe, Israel news, maybe like a couple hours from now. Going to eat something first. My schedule, I am on like Israel, Lebanon time right now because we've been covering that every day during the day their time. So my schedule is all messed up. I woke up to cover this story. As crazy as that sounds. Appreciate you being with us. This is and special shout out to Janice Yu from Janice. Really appreciate it. She is with again ABC7NY, and I really appreciate her allowing us to show Mayor Adams' statement from her social media. So big thanks to Janice Yu. I really appreciate you guys watching. Subscribe and follow Agenda Free TV. We cover all kinds of live breaking news coverage here without an agenda. Agenda Free TV. Cover all kinds of national and international news. So subscribe, follow, turn the notifications on. As tonight shows, I never know when big news is going to happen. So much big news lately. Every day it's like, it feels like there's another big story. It's crazy. But subscribe, turn on our free notifications. You sign up once, it's free. Then you get sent a notification whenever we go live. It works really well. We do it through Discord. The mods will post the link to the notifications in the chat. And you can find it in the video description for this broadcast too on Facebook and YouTube. So sign up for the notifications, subscribe to the channel, follow the channel, follow me on X. I will post updates to this and other stories on my X profile, my X feed, at Lookner on X. Follow me there for breaking news, at Lookner. I'll post a link in the chat. And huge thanks to our moderators. We've been on the air so much lately, and our moderators are always there. They are keeping the chat civil, respectful. They're why we can have a chat. We couldn't have it without our moderators. So thank you so much. Ruth Krafasi moderating, Charm Accents, all of our YouTube moderators, Linda Belkin, Larry on X, all of our Twitch moderators. I Got That Fire, Sarah, Surly Dev, Tariag, and the others. Thank you so much. Kay Lowry Body, Margaret Riley on Facebook, and our other moderators. Big thanks to you. Thank you so much, moderators. Thanks to everybody who donated too. I owe a thanks to Nick Van Sickle. Thank you, Nick, who says you've been busy. Yeah, it's been so much news lately. And everybody who donated, you are the ones who let this channel exist with your support. So thank you so much for supporting the channel. If you ever want to donate, you can go to agendafree.tv, agendafree.tv. And oh my gosh, there's been so much news lately. What was I going to say? Subscribe, follow. We have a chat. You can chat with other viewers when we're not on the air. It's done on Discord. It's free. The link is the same as the notifications link. So check out our chat. And thanks to our Discord mods as well. And if you are watching on YouTube, make sure you turn the YouTube notifications on. To do that, this is what you got to do. When you subscribe, you need to click this bell, the notifications bell, turn notifications on, and then choose all notifications. You got to do that to get the YouTube notifications. So do that if you're a YouTube subscriber. Okay. Also, follow Agenda Free TV on X. I post scheduling updates, programming updates on the and news about the channel on Agenda Free TV, at Agenda Free TV, all one word, on X. I will post a link in the chat. Okay. Also, thanks so much to our Twitch subscribers. Thank you so much for your support on Twitch, like Shaggy and Wall Street and Sidewalk Connoisseur and Freaky Beats and Sarah and Blue. I'll say Blue M on Twitch, our subscriber over there. Pre-Breakfast Banana, Graybeard Games, Mudmore, thank you. And all of our other subscribers over there on Twitch, thanks so much. Our Facebook subscribers, shout out to you. Eve Richards, Diane Allworth, Kay Lowry Body, Margaret Riley, Ronald Egnor, and Ronald was moderating. Thank you so much for Ronald Egnor for moderating on Facebook tonight. I appreciate that. Also, our subscriber, Randy Montgomery. Good to see you, Randy. Bruce Hodge. Thank you, Bruce Hodge, for subscribing on Facebook. And our other Facebook subscribers, thanks so much. And also our YouTube members, like Joe Hart, Evelyn in Maine, Barry, The Lucky Minute, Nick Van Sickle, Eamon O'Leary, Celeste, Marty Hagwood, CAC813, Mary B, Aldo Ruiz, Kellen, Batman, Otis Fats, Jens Crunchy Vax, Hawk1, Marnie, Newscrasher, Lori Wagner, Posiwi and LEO, Go Niners, Teresa, Megatron, Marty Hagwood, Rumi, Paul Tissue, Rita. Rita says so much news this week. It's crazy. It's crazy. And all of our other viewers and chatters, thank you for watching. I'm going to wrap this up. Eric Wong says, I just can't see him remaining in office the way all this has played out. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how many people get charged. We will find out the details, I guess, later today, Thursday. Thanks, Tammy and David watching, who says, I will be following this tomorrow. I'm in Florida. As long as we have power, I will be following. Maybe we'll do hurricane coverage too. Again, I am anticipating maybe in a couple hours doing some Israel coverage, Israel-Hezbollah coverage. So we'll see. Thanks, Paul Travis Rose, also subscribing on Facebook. Thank you, Paul. And Relila, thanks for subscribing. Night Owl for subscribing on Twitch. And all of our viewers, Northern Nancy, He Has Risen, Skinnerd, Heather N., and others. All right. Thank you for joining us. You've been watching our live breaking news coverage. The mayor of New York City, Eric Adams, indicted, the first New York City mayor ever indicted while in office. Details to come on that. And we will be covering other big stories as well. And very possibly, in a couple hours, some Israel coverage. Israel Hezbollah coverage, Lebanon coverage. Okay, that is it for now. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon with more live breaking news coverage right here at Agenda Free TV.